Very calm. It was for all those away fans that have gone there today, because even at half-time, I'm sure they were going, I said it, this game isn't over. Anything could still happen. And they were excellent, the way they managed the game. And I think Ben Davies deserves a very special mention, because I think him coming in, and I've seen him play, he's come on in a couple of games when Romero or Van der Ven's been injured, and I thought he was very assured. And he's one of those sort of players that doesn't get the credit he deserves. He can fill in at right back, left back. He had to go in at centre-back against one of the most ferocious centre-forwards in world football.
But what did he do? What did he do? He dropped off. He knew exactly what he used his brain. That's exactly what he did. He got tight when he needed to. I just thought he was outstanding.
And what about Kulusevski's performance? Never mind Maddison.
Yeah, Kulusevski has been Spurs' best player this year. I've been so impressed with him. It feels like his game is just going to another level now. There's a real... Every game he's at it. He can play in the 10, he can play wide. As I say, I wondered why he didn't play in the 10 today, but I think the manager got that absolutely right. That's why he's the manager. But they were brilliant today. And Kulusevski especially, I'm not sure we're going to be talking to after, but you could have given any of those Spurs players man of the match today. They were excellent.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to speaking to anyone from that Spurs dressing room just to get the lowdown on that fantastic performance and victory over the champions Manchester City, which is absolutely no doubt the result of the day so far. And this is how we returned in the Premier League this afternoon, with Chelsea winning in the early game against Leicester City by 2-1. Arsenal, after fall without a win, register their biggest win of the season. And quite a lot of big names rested in the game. The likes of Declan Rice and Kai Havertz left out of the starting lineup, but they brush aside Nottingham Forest. Ethan Nwaneri becoming the second youngest Arsenal goal scorer in Premier League history in that game. Villa struggled against Crystal Palace today, but they managed to get a point out of it in the end. Looked like Palace were heading for their first away victory before the equaliser from Ross Barkley. Yuri Tielemans had a penalty saved there by Dean Henderson as well. Bournemouth beaten at home by Brighton. Upwardly mobile Fabian Herzl's side. They've done it again this afternoon. Joao Pedro Mitoma on the score sheet for them. Carlos Baliba sent off, but they still managed to get over the line. Brentford had a player sent off. They played all of the second half, in fact, with 10, but Everton couldn't manage to find a way through them. And what a result for Wolves as well today, going to Fulham, who've been catching the eye themselves so far this season. But it's back-to-back victories for Gary O'Neill's side. A first away win as well of the season. Scan that QR code. You will see all of those goals and the match highlights on the Sky Sports app right now, including, I'm sure Spurs fans want another look at those 4 goals they've just scored against City. We will, of course, bring you those here very shortly as well. This is how it stands then at the bottom. Wolves climbing out of the bottom 3. Ipswich slipping in for now. Big game for them tomorrow. Everton climbing despite the fact they didn't win today. Manchester United up to 15th by virtue of goal difference. Up to 12th, sorry, and then into the top half. And climbing all the way up to 6th place go Spurs, and now just 3 points off Chelsea, Arsenal and Brighton, only 4 off City, who now find themselves 5 behind Liverpool. If Liverpool were to win their next 2 games, tomorrow on Super Sunday, and then against City next week, well, you can do the maths yourself. They'll be 11 points clear of Manchester City. So all that to look forward to, and tomorrow as well, it is the start of a new era for Manchester United. That score, you've probably done a double take, haven't you? Because it's not very often that City lose 4-0 in any game, never mind at home, never mind for a 5th consecutive game they've been beaten as well. The first time the champions of England have lost 5 games in a row in any competition since 1956. 9 shots for Spurs, 23 from Manchester City. They flew out the blocks. Haaland had chances certainly early on. Vicario was called on to make 5 saves in the game. Look at the expected goals total, those Spurs edging that as well. City, though, with more touches in the opposition box, many more passes in the final third. But this was a story of Spurs being ruthless when they had those opportunities, particularly on the counter-attack this evening. Might it have been different, Micah, had City scored with one of those moments in the opening 10 minutes?
Yeah, you could say that. We could say that about any game. I think it's more about what Spurs had to offer today and how they executed their plan. I thought there was really well organised. They knew exactly when to press, exactly when to drop. They nullified the threat of Haaland in terms of the space in behind. They let him have the ball to feet. a lot in the game, and then he would go into the box to get them shots off in the first half. But I just think Spurs played the game plan perfectly today, and Man City at times didn't know how to break them down. Yes, the expected goals, they should have probably scored one or two, but the story of the game is about Spurs and how good they were. Man City, at the moment, five losses now. I'm seeing little bits in their game which need improving, and on the ball, perfect in terms of 1-2s, passing and all that sort of thing. But off the ball, the yard off it, they're not winning the tackles, all the things that made Man City a brilliant team, not just the work on the ball, it's off the ball. The pressing high, being aggressive, all them things in today's, and over the last 5 fixtures, I've seen little sort of cracks in their game.
Too easy to play against. Everyone's going to talk about Rodri because of the impact that he has, but it isn't just Rodri. You've obviously got Kovacic, you've got Ruben Diaz, who's a leader of men in that back four. He's the talker, the communicator. They miss him. Kevin De Bruyne is in and out the team, not at his best. I still think Alvarez is a massive blow to this team where you can bring him on.
Spurs had players missing as well today.
Yeah, but I'm talking about Man City at the moment. So Man City are off it at the moment. They are short. So that's where the things aren't quite clicking. In midfield, that balance, Gundogan couldn't get around the pitch today. He couldn't get near anybody, and the focus wasn't right. The balance wasn't right with Rico Lewis and Foden and Bernardo Silva. They didn't have enough energy to get around them. And once Tottenham scored, the confidence came. Maddison started to get on the ball. You could see that his tail was up. That's the sort of player that he is. And then he was excellent. But the fact that you can't score a goal against the two centre-backs of Ben Davies and Dragosan, that for me, that's the biggest worry, because they didn't have that clinical edge.
Did you see a difference in Tottenham once they'd scored the goal?
Oh, 100%. He sort of had the aura, that confidence. We know Maddison and we know how good he can be. At times he's been frustrated because he feels like he should be playing, he can make the difference. But when Maddison plays like this, he's very difficult to contain. I just thought from start to finish, and it's not just because he scored goals, it was the positions he was picking up in the midfield where Rico Lewis didn't know where to go with him, and then it was the weight of the pass. Anything he did today was just clinical.
I think you played him a bit of... We do it sometimes. We've all been left out. You've been left out. I've been left out of teams. A bit of anger. Because he's had to see Kulusevski come into that 10 role, and everyone's talking about how well he's playing. And he probably thought to himself in this international break, will I be starting a game of this magnitude? And he came in and he really proved his point today. And that's what I like to see, because some players sulk. Some players think, well, I've not been in the team for a while. He came in and he was really effective.
There's been a lot said, Jamie, hasn't there? People are almost writing him off already.
Yeah, I agree, mate. It's difficult for him because of, you see, you've got that professional jealousy, if you like, of seeing another player do so well. And he's like, well, how am I going to get into this team? And then today the manager made what I would call an interesting move. He brought him into the 10, and he was magnificent. I'm actually saying that because I know he's in the screen behind me.
Hope he can hear us. Hope he can hear us. Let's waste no more time and get across to Spurs match winner today, James Maddison. I hope you can hear us, James. Give me the thumbs up.
Yeah, I got you, Dave.
Yeah, good. The hair looks good, mate, as well. I'm guessing it's just one of those nights, James, that don't come around too often in football, to be in the situation that you've been in yourself, to go back into the team, to score 2 goals and win 4-0 at the home of the champions.
Yeah, no, these are rare, Dave, to be fair, to come to the champions, and especially City, just because of how much they've actually dominated over the last few years. In Europe as well. To come and win 4-0 is special, you know. These are the days that you remember, and I think it's important that we enjoy it. Sometimes as a player, you're especially when you're in Europe, you're just looking always to the next game, and the focus is always on the next game, which it should be. But like you said, these days are rare, so certainly going to enjoy that one.
And on your birthday as well. I forgot to mention that bit too. 28 today.
Yeah, I haven't been shouting that from the rooftops. 28 sounds quite old to me now. No, I feel really good, and it's obviously really nice to, when you make the sacrifice of missing a birthday, and I've got 3 children at home who I haven't seen, and my missus and everything, and they're in the hotel all day because it's a late kick-off. They're the moments that make it all worth it, so.
James, Jamie Redknapp, congratulations, mate. I want to talk about that first goal. You're very classy in all your performance today, but the first goal was obviously an important one. And Mike and I, in a minute, are going to highlight your involvement. And did you see that as Gundogan is obviously marking you, and you just made a great run off the back of him and then got in behind John Stones? Was that something that you felt you could do all match?
Yeah, I think I've actually made a few of them runs this season and got the ball and not scored, so it hasn't been spoken about. There's been times where I've made that kind of left half space run where I find myself with the midfielder picking me up, but if I burst quickly, it's like they're not sure who's picking me up. And with the quality Kulusevski's got on that left foot, I actually said to him pre-game as well, when you cut in, look for that in-swinging cross almost. And you look at the replay there, I barely have to break stride and just about getting a good contact, but
was it a good contact or was there a little bit of a Shinaldo?
On my birthday, Jamie, really?
The second one definitely wasn't James, but that first one, there was a little bit.
No, it just needed I was only a yard out. It just needed a contact, didn't it? I didn't want to try and do too much of it. Just get a good contact on it.
I was too close to it. I liked it.
And the second one, I mean, does the confidence flow through you at that point, which empowers the touches, those deft touches that we saw for the second goal?
Yeah, well, we won it back high up, didn't we, on the press? I played it to Sonny, and I know fullbacks are like petrified at Sonny, so they don't always get tight. Well, not a fullback in this instance, but defenders in general. So I thought instead of actually making the inside run, actually go and pass it and like run round him, because I saw that Walker was just a little bit high, and then it was just about staying calm and staying cool. And I scored one of them at Brentford, so it's definitely one I've got in the locker just to have a little dink over the keeper, because when you're so close, they always like to rush out, but they don't always come off. Sometimes you stub your toe in the floor. I've done a few of them in training, but it come off today.
James, congratulations. I just want to ask you something tactically, because you was getting on the ball a little bit deeper, but then making runs through. Did the manager ask you to do anything specific just for today's game? Because you was the best player on the pitch by far.
Thanks, Mike. Very kind of you. No, I know what he expects of his midfielders, and I think he trusts me enough to. I'm like I said, I'm 28 now, birthday today, so I'm quite experienced now in the league and in games. I kind of realise, and sometimes I'm able to take it upon myself to realise what the team needs. City obviously press high and sometimes can be difficult to get out. We had two lads playing at centre half who don't always play together as well, so I thought it'd just be better sometimes to help in the build-up. We obviously have tactical work in the week that the manager speaks about, and it was just about varying it, like staying high when needed to and dropping down to help with the build-up when I need to, because I know I can be effective doing that as well.
Listen, of course everyone's wondering how you've been feeling in the last few weeks, James. You started the first 9 games of the season, then on the bench for the last 2, then you come in and you perform like this. Give us an idea of where your head has been at in recent weeks.
I've been all right. I mean, I'm never happy with not playing. The gaffer took me out and told me, for a tactical reason, I think because he wanted Sarr and Kulusevski, 2 really fit lads who can really go and press for 90, 100 minutes for a couple of games. But like you know me by now, Dave, I've got a lot of self-belief, and if I go through tough spells like that where I have 2 games out, I'm able now at the age I am to be able to say, right, well, I'm going to go and show you that this team is much better with me in it, and that's the mindset. Not in an arrogant, big-headed way, but just that mindset of myself and that self-belief, because that's the only way you get out of them little ruts. I've actually been happy with my form this season. Been a couple of games where maybe I haven't been at the level, but I'm quite critical of myself, and I'd watch all the games back, and I know when I'm not playing at my level. There's been a couple, which happens in football, but I'm really happy and proud that I bounced back today and back in a big game. And when he showed my leadership today, I think the manager will be happy with that. So I am, yeah.
You certainly did that, James. And in terms of the team, where is this consistency going to come from? What is the real Spurs?
Well, that's the real Spurs today. That's the one that we train towards. That's the one that we work towards. I think today had a bit of everything, didn't it? We pressed high. We, at times, obviously, City away, you know you're going to come under the cosh a little bit at times where they're going to create chances just because of the quality they've got. But we defended deep, we relied on our keeper, we got blocks in, we scored on the counter, we built up and we were brave. So I think that 90 minutes there is what we want Spurs to be and what we've got to strive to make sure it's there more consistently. It's tough, the Premier League's tough, as we always say, year on year gets tougher and tougher, but that's a good benchmark for us to kick on and have a good period over Christmas now, I hope.
Yeah, well, congratulations, James. Absolutely fantastic night. and you've spoken brilliantly as well to cap it all off. And we've got something for you. The magic arm is going to come in. There it is.
I thought it was a birthday cake. And Michael wants to sing happy birthday to you as well.
Happy birthday to you.
Do I have to stand here for the whole thing?
Happy birthday. Well done, mate.
I'm not happy you did it against City, but I'm happy for you personally.
Appreciate it, mate. Thank you.
Well done, James. Congratulations. Have a great night.
Well done, James.
Thank you.
Doesn't get much better than that, does it?
What, Michael singing to you?
No, but seriously,
what a day.
how good he's confident, the way he speaks, the way he analyses the game. He's just, you can tell he's been frustrated. You know,
that shirt
it's amazing.
Is going to be cherished.
Yeah. But I just love his confidence as well when he says he thinks they're a better team when he's in it.
Yeah.
You know,
You like that as well, Jamie, didn't you?
Well, I did because I just thought a lot of players will say, no, I'm fine. It's a team game. It's all about the players and everyone winning, and that's what we're here for. No, it's not. You want to play. You want to play in these big matches and affecting games because he's a number 10. That's what he does. He wants to be in the middle of the park, making things happen, showing his magic, getting his touch right, playing long passes. And I thought that's what he did today. And as soon as he scored that first goal, I thought, Man City are in trouble here because once he gets his tail up and he starts to enjoy it and wriggles away from people, and because City was so powder puffing that midfield, he had the freedom of the park. No one even tried to tackle him. It was too easy for him, Michael, wasn't it?
I was just going to ask you, as a midfielder, Jay, you know, when you get that little bit of confidence, that little bit of swaggy, you saw it, like you said, after the goal. Like, what do you need that goal to then give you that confidence, or is it just the fact that he wasn't in the team and he just wanted to show everyone what he could do today?
For him, that's the best drug ever when you've scored that goal. It's like a shot in the arm that just makes you feel $1 million. And every time that ball then comes to you, you just feel like you're just going to move away from people, glide around the pitch. Because he would have had doubts. Absolutely, David.
He talked about this being the team's level. Has that got to be his level as well?
Yeah, it has, I guess. You know, but there's always going to be competition. Because as I've mentioned, Kulusevski has come into that 10 and been so effective. But what he's shown today, and Spurs, and all of they've shown they've got a good squad, but they had an energy in midfield. And that's where I think, and probably because I'm a midfielder, I would say it, but they had the energy in there that Manchester City didn't possess with Bissouma and Papsar and Maddison. They had too much energy, and they ran all over that Manchester City midfield. They were just too powerful for them today.
Let's pick these goals apart then. We had a look with James, but let's have a closer look at the goal that really got Spurs started. And we made the point that Manchester City had much the better of it, hadn't they, for the first 10 minutes or so before Spurs took the lead on, what was it, 13?
Yeah, it was 30 minutes. And we start off with Dragusin because he hits a great pass. This is a really good diagonal pass to Kulusevski that gives you an outlet. They needed that because they were playing in their own half. They kept losing the ball. And then I always feel once this happens, I think you're a fullback, Micah. Guardiola. As soon as someone like Kulusevski has the ball, you've got to try and get him off his left foot because as soon as he wants to come inside, I know he's got a bit of a problem because he's got someone there and he decides to back off. But you've got to get a little bit closer and try and stop that cross coming in.
Exactly that. But it's all about the run and the finish on that angle. But I just want to pause it here and talk about fullbacks. And I've played in Kyle Walker's position a lot of games. And what I would say is Kyle Walker at the moment is not proactive. He's reactive. So if you just look at Man City's line, as I scroll it across, pause it just there. Kyle Walker in this position here. The reason why Kyle Walker's in this position is because he's frightened of Son there and the pace. When he gets the ball, he wants to be as tight as possible.
Where should he be then?
He should be in here. Just in that position there, open up his body so he can see into the midfield and he can see Son to the right of him. As we just roll this on slowly here, play materialises. Now, John Stones here has got a problem. He's got Solanke just in front of him, but really, if Solanke gets the ball, he wants to be nice and tight, but he needs Walker to be behind him in this position here. I roll it on here now. What happens is Gundogan doesn't go with his runner. Just in there. Maddison's allowed to run free. Roll it on there. Now, John Stones has got a decision to make. He's sort of dropped off. He's the last man. If Kyle Walker would have given himself 5 yards and ran back quicker, he can stop that if he's in the right position and just head it away. The problem is he was reactive. It took him too long to get back in position.
Talk me through this finish.
Beautiful. No, I was joking with him there, but he's right. You've got to get a contact on
contact.
it. You know, it's just to get something on that ball. You can see it. It's coming over your left shoulder. You are thinking, this is on my weak foot. Just get anything on it. And he does that. He gets it in a really good position. The other part of that, and I know it's very interesting you say from a right-back's perspective, but I also think what happens with Gundogan and Maddison, that for me is the most basic part of midfield play. When somebody runs without the ball, and they go and they just get it. I'm just going to try and put something while I'm talking to you. And then that happens to you. You've just got to follow your man. You know, and Gundogan just does makes one of the most elementary mistakes in football by not following him. All he has to do is just mark that run because he puts John Stones in a really bad position. I'm just going to show you here because he gets himself in what I would call, let's call this right now because we all do it. It's the Rodri position. There's Gundogan and there's the goal scorer, James Maddison. Now, all you have to do really in that situation is just follow the runner. So Gundogan now is tracking him. He knows he's behind him. But because of his lack of pace, he now knows he's got a bit of a problem because James Maddison has changed pace and he hasn't. He looks over his left shoulder and sees him. And then as he does that, then now you can see he's in trouble. His left arm's gone out. Help me. But what the problem is, John Stones can't react because he can see Solanke. He can't then get back in time, and he's already in a position. You can see James Maddison's hand has gone up. Come on, get that ball to me. I know you've got the quality, Dejan. Can you find me? And absolutely he does. He plays an exquisite ball, but that has to be Gundogan. That's Kovacic or that's Rodri's, that's their food and drink. And I think that was a really poor piece of play by Gundogan. He just couldn't match the run and he couldn't match Spurs' energy in midfield all game.
And it was hugely significant because Spurs had been under the cosh in the opening exchange. It was very open the first 10, 15 minutes of the game. Spurs get the goal and you see that confidence flood through them. Now, the second goal, we've seen time and time again Manchester City under Pep Guardiola being able to play through teams from this situation. So why aren't they able to?
Yeah, I think it's the positions that Spurs deploy here. If we just roll this on here, I like they know all their positions. So Son's come really narrow. Maddison, Sarr, who's one of your midfielders, you expected him to be a lot further back. And then you've got Kulusevski there and Solanke. So basically what they're doing, they are blocking the middle of where Man City like to exploit and forcing it wide. Putting on the pressure, I'll run it on here. Kulusevski goes, then he's backed up by Porro, forcing Man City into a mistake. They want the defenders to have the ball and not the midfielders, the most technical ones. They make a mistake and now they're off. Again, Kyle Walker's position here, and I'll give him a little bit of leeway, Kyle Walker, potentially on this one because the width was coming from Kyle Walker. Normally you see Kyle Walker more in a free at the back role.
Yeah, at the start of the move, he was out on the
touchline. But he was really wide.
Can I ask you a question then, Mike? And I agree, giving him the benefit of the doubt to a certain extent. But as this unfolds, if he sprints back,
correct,
there's no doubt at all he stops James.
And you'll see it on the next angle. But I think we've got to highlight Maddison's run there because, you know, he saw certain midfields here would just sort of stay in that position, wait for Son to do something, but he makes the overlap and it's a really good finish, Jamie.
Oh, beautiful. But the interaction between the two of them is just magnificent.
And this is the angle we was talking about. So we've got Kyle Walker providing the width. That's expected. Rico Lewis was going in there. John Stones was going into midfield. And we just run this on here. And you talk about the urgency about Kyle Walker, could he have got back earlier? And I'm going to show you the exact point when he should sprint. There, soon as the ball's been played and there's carnage, there's chaos, you need Kyle Walker, especially with his pace, if he runs there early to protect and get into a back four. That doesn't happen. Roll it on here. He's waiting, and by the time he gets there, it's too late. If he goes there early, and I've been in that position, so I know exactly what he's doing. Again, he backs his pace always. All he needs to do is think, OK, I need to get in there early, make the right position. Kyle Walker's got blistering pace over the years. That's what's made him the player he is. But now he's getting a little bit older. He's got to be a little bit smarter and a little bit wiser in the positions he picks up on the field.
Yeah, beautiful. But I will also say that little bit of play, that play from Maddison, because so often in the box, everything maybe becomes a little bit static. People maybe just not taking that risk. And then once he gets it, I just love what he does. It's football that's so intelligent, because he's got it right. Now his brain is ticking. Where is the space? What can I do? He obviously sees Kyle Walker. He mentioned it himself. I'm going to play that ball to Sonny, and I'm going to get round him and make that run. And it's beautiful. The timing is perfect. Son comes inside. He knows he can't get his shot away, and then just reverses the pass perfectly back into him. And then the touch is good. And then because he's probably scored one with his left foot first of all, he feels so confident on the second one.
Said he'd done it before.
Absolutely. No, it's a brilliant goal.
And stubbed his toe a few times trying it as well.
Yeah, but no, it was fantastic. And I think from Spurs' point of view, then the confidence was up, the tails are up, and it was absolutely brilliant.
Should we wait and see it in close-up again? It's worth it, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's just the timing, the pass, execution, everything was bang on.
Right, so the next goal was always going to be crucial in this game at 2-0. I think, there was some talk at half-time of whether it was going to be a case of City storming back in, or could Spurs find another that would really kill this contest. And that's what sort of happened in the end. Brilliant from back to front again, Jamie, and just how crucial is the role of Dejan Kulusevski in the third goal?
He's magnificent right now. He's such an important player for them. You can see him. We'll pick him up here. He ends up on the other side. But his energy, they win the ball back, and then he just shows strength. Look, too quick there. Little bit, powder puff tackles again. No strength from Kyle Walker, and then once that happens, he's off. You can see you've got Solanke, you've got Son running into the box. Little bit overhits that one, and then once the ball gets back by Solanke, that's a ferocious, spiteful finish, I call that. But one thing I want to say from Manchester City's point of view, and this pretty much summed it up for me as well. Now, as they lose that ball, there's three players two actually, I want you to keep your eye on. Players that I normally associate with great energy, work ethic. One, Phil Foden, he's been right off the game. Watch what he does, and then Akanji, jogging back. And then you'll see two players from Spurs. You'll see Porro, who's 10 yards behind them, and then you'll see Papsar making a run. But just watch how this unfolds, and the lack of energy, lack of appetite, which is something I never associate with Manchester City doing. Look, Foden jogging, Akanji jogging. Now you're going to see Papsar here, and then you're going to see the goal scorer, Porro. Now look, where's Akanji? There he is, nowhere to be seen. Phil Foden's not even in the shot. He should sprint back and help his team. You're in trouble. This goal now is all important. You cannot afford to go 3-0 down. And then what happens? It obviously comes back. And as I mentioned, what a finish that is. But too easy to play against.
All the things that City are normally so good at. That is what the disappointing thing.
Granted,
exactly, that high press, being aggressive. Yeah, we could talk about the injuries, but we give City credit for being able to rotate players and still play the same way. So it was just about Spurs being excellent today.
The fourth goal, do we have to talk about Kyle Walker again?
Well, I mean...
Mate, you're off his birthday list.
No, I just want to be looking from a point of view where I've been in this situation. And he looked a little bit tired on this situation here. Remember the run with Adama Traore where he said
We all remember that.
He just sort of stepped and he didn't understand how quick he was going to be in that moment over the amount of yards it was.
But what's interesting about this one, for you've been a right back. Mm-hmm. It's almost as if he thinks, well, I'm playing against a player. I'll be able to be as quick as him, but Werner's just come on the pitch and he never really looks set.
And
for
he
the
would
race.
be one of the fastest players,
without a doubt, David.
Yeah, it would be, but I think Kyle Walker would still back himself against Werner for pace, but he just mistimes it. Werner, lovely ball across the box, and yeah, again, it's just one of those things where it's lack of sharpness. He's getting a little bit older. I won't. This is a position where I won't give him too much stick for, because if your legs in the game are a little bit tired, someone's come on fresh and you get beaten for pace, you have to accept it,
This is what I like. Can I just, sorry, Mike, I'm just going to say, but what I did enjoy about Spurs today was the subs coming on, Brennan Johnson, and then obviously you've got Werner coming on there with great pace, and obviously Gundogan is just, Gundogan is struggling to sort of in that area, try to match the run. of Brennan Johnson, and it's obviously then too far for Guardiola to come in. And that's what you need. You need energy, you need pace, subs coming onto the pitch making a bit of a difference. And that's happened a lot with Brennan Johnson. He's found a real, like a niche for himself, getting in that back post. Raheem Sterling did it for so long. Salah does it. Get those goals, get your numbers up by just getting into that 6-yard box.
From Spurs scoring their first goal onwards, just like the whole stadium was in shock. What's your take on what you've just seen?
Yeah, maybe, but this is what it is. We spoke about that. We will not expect that the opponents cannot create chances, score the goals, and in our time together, always we concede the goals in a moment. So, but we are in the moment that we start really well the games. We had the chances, and after the first time they arrived, we concede, and now the moment that we have, that is a little bit more difficult to come back in the positions mentally, especially what you have to do. But chances were there, and but of course, the moment they create the chances, they build up, we were not, we cannot handle the duels like normally we were able to do it, and now we struggle a little bit.
Because of the run you're in, after a good start, does that first Tottenham goal, does the confidence and belief just drain away with that?
No, it cannot happen. I said before, so when you play, in teams at top level, especially in Premier League, they can concede chances. We can concede chances, but it's part of the process. But of course, when you are in the situation that we are, always a little bit more tougher.
Yeah, you used the phrase in your press conference before the game about breaking the situation. Mm-hmm. Is that how it feels? You're just in some sort of spiral you can't get out of at the moment?
Yeah, of course. So we could not think about, could not think before about that situation, but now is when we start really well again, and you can lose a lot of games in a row. No, it's not going to happen. Always in life can happen, like you are able to win a lot of games, always it can happen. Of course, you have to break it for a reason more mentally, to approach what you have to do.
Does it feel like the bad run, 5 games now, did it feel like it got a bit more concerning, a bit more worrying? Your players back, you were at the Etihad, there was a great feel around the place at the start because of Rodri, because of your new contract, and then it didn't happen.
Well, when you lose 0-4, you don't have to say much. So accept it, congratulate Tottenham, as we have done, and look ourselves, and me first. So I have to see the situation, because the players come back, but come back still late, and there are few reasons that we are not able to be consistent. We are a team like always, we concede few. We're a team like always create chances, and now the balance is not in the right moment. But it happened, so we have to do it. We will talk, and of course on Tuesday against Feyenoord we have the chance to try. To try it.
Yeah, you said we can't win the duels like we used to.
It's not only the reason why.
No, but I just wonder, is that a Rodri thing? What's happening there?
Of course, Rodri is important, but we need it for many months. So it's not that. John can play just 45 minutes. Manu came back with effort, and Nathan came back. Ruben is not there. Jack had been injured many times. Kevin 2 months and 5 months. So there are a little lot of things that you understand the process. What do you have to do? Why should be different after the last 8 years? When it's going bad, you have to come back for the process, or what we believe, deeply believe, that gave us these last 8 years, like we did what we have done, and now we have to come back and fresh our minds and say, okay, and break and win in a game, and the season is so long, many things is going to happen, and that's what we have to do.
So lastly, then, I was going to ask, how much longer can this run go on for before you? It's Anfield next week. How long before you say, look, we're not going to win it this year. It's about looking forward now.
I don't know. Before that game, I didn't know what's going to happen today. I'm going to ask me what's going to happen in Anfield. I don't know. So, of course, we know that you have to break, but I don't know what happened. At the same time, when we won a lot of games in a row, that we were able to do it. Before the next game that we won it, I didn't know we were going to win. So, of course, now we have to, everybody knows that, of course, the situation is new for us, but they give us when it happened, it give us, how difficult is what we have done and how difficult it is. So many little things happen, and we'll see, because the game is there. I think we struggle more without the ball, especially now high pressing, but with the ball we are more than this. We create, I don't know how many chances, but we are there many times. At the end, our game was there. But in every situation, it's not going well right now, and you have to accept it and move ourselves and go forward.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Ben.
You're very welcome, and off he goes. Pep Guardiola again asked about Rodri, and of course this is going to keep coming up because he is the best player in the world right now, Ballon d'Or winner, and he's going to be missing for some time still. We've added this defeat ratio. We often talk about win ratios, but I think the defeat ratio is more significant when it comes to Rodri. You see with him in the side, they only lose 2.6% of games. This is since February of last year. Without him in the team, they lose more than a third, 35.7%, 10 of the 28 games they've played without him. Is it all about him, or is it a bigger picture?
I think big part of it, of course, if you look at the stats, it tells you there. I think it's not just what he does on the ball, it's what he does off the ball as well. The positions that we showed in analysis, he would be in them positions and then he starts attacks, he doesn't panic. He's been chipping in with goals as well. But now, after the 50th, I'm starting to think it's something bigger than that, because it was not just the midfield. The defenders are not doing the basic things. The midfield's getting overrun, and then we're just expecting Haaland to score in every opportunity. Midfielders need to start chipping in with more goals. The fluidity of the team is not the same or what it once was. So I'm not in panic mode right now, but I think there's definitely cracks starting to appear in this Man City team.
I agree, and I think you put it perfectly there. I think what I've noticed, and it's not just today because it was a 4-0 drubbing, but the Brighton game, when they went 1-0 up, I never felt there was a security about them. They're fragile right now. Confidence is low. Is there that belief that we normally see? Rodri is obviously an important part, but is it everything? Absolutely not. Missing Kevin De Bruyne, missing Diaz. I honestly think great money, Alvarez in the summer, but I think it was a huge loss not having him, just to bring him on to give you some freshness. No, the ages, I think you said the age of the team, 14, 9 of the 14 were 29 plus, is that right?
Yeah.
You know, I think that there may be a little bit of freshening up. Hugo Viano's coming in the summer. There has to be a bit of a rebuild, because you cannot keep relying on Kevin De Bruyne to create chances and win you games and do all the great things that he's done. There has to come a moment where you've got to start to look forward and thinking, OK, how do we make sure that we can keep up with these other sides? Because today they were just overrun and overpowered, certainly in that midfield. On
that point that Jamie makes, we've actually got a graphic which does show this, the average age creeping up for Manchester City. So they have 10 players aged 29 or more, as Jamie said there, that 9 of the 14 tonight that were used were 29 or over, and their percentage of minutes by 29-year-olds or older is the highest now in the Premier League. Does it suggest, actually, Mike, if you think about this next couple of years for Pep Guardiola, now he's signed this new contract, it might be, as Jamie says, more of a rebuild, or is this team still able to win now?
I think this team's still able to win now, because let's not forget Doku, the age of Doku. You got Savinho, the age of Foden, the age of Guardiola, the age of Haaland, the age of Rico Lewis. The problem is it's a key element. So when you lose Rodri and how important he is to the team, if Haaland's not scoring and he scores all the goals in the team, then you start to look where the problems are lying. I don't think it's too much of an age thing. I just think the players, Oscar Bob, at the start of the season, he had unbelievable pre-season. He would have been playing in this team. I don't think Man City, especially in history, have allowed the team to get too old without freshening it up. I just think the key players are not playing at the level we all have seen.
What we're going to be saying, and everyone's going to be saying, we'll write this team off at their peril. The Man City's prime, they went 18 games, won 18 on the spin to win a title. And they've done it so often at the back end of the season, and we always say, well, Man City are going to come here, they're going to come on their run now. I don't see, and it might be a foolish thing to say, I don't see that this team right now, where it's at without the players that they're missing, and the players perhaps not being at the level that they have been over the last few years, are capable of doing that. Now, can they win the title still? Absolutely. They're going to have to win it a different way.
Correct.
Because I don't see that they can keep clean sheets and win games, and that's why I think it's going to be, if it's going to be a title win, it'll probably be one of his best and the most difficult, because this team isn't capable of going on that extended run that others have.
They have been in worse situations than this before at this stage of the season. This is a reminder of what it was like. This is the season after Liverpool had won the title, and Man City found themselves down here, 20 points from 12 games. so similar stage of the season. They then went and won the next 15.
We can't write off City.
But to Jamie's point, is this City team right now capable of rolling off a stretch of wins like that, 10, 15 games?
I would say in history, yes, but I do agree with Jamie. It looks a little bit different. Something is not right. But every time you sort of go against City and what they're doing, and you're thinking they can't do it, they find a way. I mean, to win the title 5 on a bounce would be a very difficult thing to do, especially without someone like Rodri being fit. I said at the start of the season, if they were to lose Rodri, that could be the difference between them winning the league and not. So maybe not the runs that we've seen in history, but the players have done it, so you can't write them off. You know, time will tell.
No, and that's I'm not being disrespectful at all, because I've so much admiration. I've stood here for many years talking about what a side this is, one of the greatest in Premier Leagues, and what they've done, what they've achieved, and that work ethic and that winning mentality that Pep has installed in them. But just feel this group right now just feels wounded. Yeah, is that wounded animals are dangerous? I'm just not sure when I watch City right now that they've got that inner strength to do it.
Lastly, before we move on, I think in the runnings before, it might have been just Man City versus Liverpool. The difference is this year, you've got Arsenal and Liverpool. So if Liverpool went through a little bit of a bad run, you might think, but they've still got Arsenal as well. I think that's why this season could be different.
We have spoken tonight a lot about Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker's been doing some talking of his own. Here he is with Patrick Davison.
Kyle, thank you for coming out. Is it hard when it's this fresh to actually get your head around what's just happened?
Yeah, it's hard to stand here and speak about it when you haven't really probably digested it just yet. But you know, I've stood here when we've won titles, so I'll stand here when we take our defeats as well.
Do you feel at the moment defensively? I'm not just talking about the defence, but just as a group, like just constantly vulnerable, almost even when you're playing well.
Yeah, you could say so. You could say so. This is the most frustrating thing, you know, about me as a defender, is that I don't care about scoring goals. I'm not bothered about scoring goals. I'm bothered about clean sheets, and that's something that we're not doing at the minute. And it's something that we need to change. You know, you need to go back to the basics, and that's getting a clean sheet, and then you've always got a chance of going and winning the game. You know, you concede 4 goals at home. What do you want our strikers to do? Go and score 5. So as defenders, we need to do a little bit more, but I'll reverse that, and we defend as a team and we attack as a team. We score goals together and we'll defend together. So that's not just the back 4, back 5, you know, back 6. It's all 11 players on the pitch.
Do you feel like collectively, and I'm talking about some seriously great Man City players in there, just a few of you know, to be quite honest, probably including yourself, have just lost confidence together maybe?
I wouldn't say we've lost confidence together, because I've spent 8 years with this fantastic group of players and people. We've lost confidence as a team because we haven't won in a long while. But we have to remember what we've achieved. But what we've achieved counts for nothing. It's in the past now. It's history. What it's about is about winning the Premier League now. And we're making it harder and harder for ourselves, because we've got teams that are around us and one team that is above us that is doing really well. So we'll keep fighting to the end, as we always do. The best way to turn this around is on Tuesday. As you know, we'll do again. We'll come out and we'll try and get 3 points, and then hopefully, you know, the mojo comes back and, you know, we see the normal City that we have done in the last, you know, 8 seasons.
So do you feel like it is, personally as a team, it's still in there? It hasn't gone away. It's confidence. It's mojo, to use your word.
Practice makes permanent, as I say. It doesn't vanish from us. Your powers don't just go. We as a team know what we can do. We know our qualities. We know our weaknesses. And it's about just getting a win. You get a win, you get your confidence, the mood lightens up, and all of a sudden, you know, we're back to where we used to, or how we used to feeling.
So last one then, Anfield next week. How do you turn it around?
Well, it's a great game to turn it around, to take 3 points off of the team that's, you know, sat above you. But we can't go out there and do a performance like that, because we're going to get walked over there. So that's down to each and every one of us at the club, you know, from now until next Sunday, with a game in the midweek in the Champions League, to prepare massively for this massive game on Sunday and make sure that we can keep in touching distance of Liverpool.
Thanks for coming out again.
Cheers, thank you.
I would have thought they'd be saying that, keeping within touching distance of Liverpool, just 12 games into the season. This is the next 6 fixtures, and looking back from Manchester United under a new manager in the middle of December. Juventus away, Palace have been improving. Forest, we know how well they've started this season under Nuno Espirito Santo. Feyenoord on Tuesday, but then that. Anfield.
It's a cracker, isn't it?
So if Liverpool win tomorrow, we can't say they're going to win, but they're playing against the bottom side. That would take the lead to 8 points. Could City then afford to lose that game, which would make the gap 11?
I think it'd be difficult. If you're talking about 11 points, going to Anfield's always a difficult place to go anyway. If they go 11 points clear, it would be very difficult. But until it's over, I always feel like Man City have got a chance. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to go on and win the league, but they still will challenge. Of course, they've got problems. I mean, we're looking at City's performance today. It was almost reminiscent of when Pep first came to England in the Premier League, where they didn't quite know what they was doing. The tactics were... He was trying to implement this plan, and the players didn't know how to implement it at times. And today, they just looked a little bit ragged. And on the evidence of today, if Liverpool were to go 11 points clear, you'd have to say no. But I would never, ever write City off just because of the history of what they've done.
Have you seen enough already, Jamie, to say that Man City won't win the title this year?
No, they can still win it, but I don't think they can go on a run like they did. They have to win it a different way. I think next week they go to Anfield with... If he plays that midfield next week, Gravenberch, McAllister and Jones or Szoboszlai, whoever plays in there, will be too powerful for them. And that's where Liverpool will win that match. And I can't see anything else because they were too easy to play against. Liverpool, this right now is all falling into Liverpool's lap. It feels that way, and I never thought I'd say that at the start of the year with a new manager. I think Arne Slot was probably... I was hoping as a Liverpool fan maybe they get top 4. The fact that they're in the position they are... Arsenal are obviously going to be huge runners still. Big result for them against Nottingham Forest. But I look at I think the 2 runners are going to be Arsenal and Liverpool as it stands, because I think next week is going to be such a big game for Man City.
Well, Ange, absolutely stunning result. How big a moment, how big an evening do you think that is for your team?
Yeah, look, I guess it's significant in terms of understand the context of where you're playing and who you're playing against, and really proud of the lads. I thought the football we played, the resilience we showed, the discipline we showed. Like I said, when you play Manchester City, they test every aspect of your game, and I thought we handled it really well today. Excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, look, they really tested you for 10 minutes. But from the minute you went ahead, do you feel like your team smelt blood?
No, we kind of knew they'd come out pretty hot, to be fair, because obviously, they're a pretty proud club. They've won an endless amount of championships and losing 4 games. I thought their first game back home with a crowd behind them, I thought, we're going to weather a storm here for a little while at least. And like I said, first 10 minutes, they had a couple of chances, although I still felt we were getting enough on it to keep them under pressure. And then after that, we just grew into the game. We played some good football, scored some great goals, and like I said, defended as we needed to.
How good was James Maddison today? In a couple of different ways. In the first half, bursting into the box, getting his goals. Second half, helping you manage the match.
Yeah, no, he was outstanding. Like I said, you have to be against Manchester City, and your level of performance. Like I said, you have to, every aspect of the game, it challenges you. And Madders was great today. Again, he's gone through a bit of a lean spell, but never doubted his ability. And I just thought today, the kind of game he's going to be was really going to suit him, and he did outstandingly.
Yeah, just tell us about. I mean, me and probably others drove here today, probably thinking he wouldn't start today, but you did bring him in, and you put Kulusevski, who's been unbelievable, and was again out wide. What was you thinking?
Well, as I said before the game, I just felt we were going to need Matters' sort of ability to keep the ball in tight midfield areas, and Decky, when he plays wide, against City, he always causes them problems, and I thought it would work well. But part of it is just a bit of I take it sort of personally on myself if players aren't playing to their levels, and Matters hasn't reached his levels, and that's on me to get him back up there. So we've done a lot of work with him the last 2 weeks. All the coaches have. He has. And as I said, that was part of the thinking. He hadn't gone away with internationals. He had a good, solid 2 training weeks, and I just felt he was ready to go, and we gave him the platform to do it.
4-0, Ange, away at Man City, one of the great Premier League teams. They've not lost here for 2 years, if you take out the Real Madrid penalty shootout. It's a really special night, isn't it?
Yeah, it would have been handy before the international break, and I could have enjoyed a few days with the family. But no, Look, it is. I think it is significant. I know, people probably reflect on, they're not in the greatest of form results-wise, but like I said, here at home, I know what a challenge they are, and it was an important game for us, fair to say, particularly after the last one, and the way the boys sort of reacted to, very easy when you're sort of under pressure and kind of. Things aren't going as smoothly as you want to splinter off, but I never got that sense. We stuck together during the week and, reflected in a great performance today.
And when there have been difficult moments this season, you said, look, we're developing, we're making progress. If that gets questioned again, this is the performance you hold up to the world, isn't it?
Yeah, look, I think it's also for us to reflect on ourselves, if we can perform like this on a consistent level. And even if it's just a bit below this, the disappointing thing for us in a couple of games is we've fallen well short of the kind of football we want to play and the team we want to be, and that's the disappointing thing. I think there's no doubting I think we're on the right track and we're developing to a very good football side, but at the same time we've got to make sure, when our levels drop, they don't drop as they have in a couple of games this year.
Yeah, I sense that's in your mind already, actually. We absolutely have to back this up now.
You always do. I mean, that's the nature of the Premier League. I mean, we've got a European game midweek. This period of games between now and sort of the New Year is going to be really important for our season. So, we've got to enjoy this. You've got to enjoy it because it doesn't come along too often, and then just recover and go again Thursday. Well done. Thank you, bud.
Yeah, they don't come around too often, and it has been a bit of a roller coaster ride, hasn't it, for Spurs and for their fans this season so far. We pointed this out before the game today, those really frustrating defeats, Brighton when they're in such a strong position, giving Palace and Ipswich their first wins of the season. Has this now got to be the line in the sand for Tottenham, Jamie?
I don't think it will be.
Why not?
But they are the great entertainers. I mean, look at that. They've scored 4 goals 4 times this season. When they get their tails up, they are capable of blowing teams away. But they're also capable of being 2 up against Brighton and losing 3-2 and giving Ipswich and Crystal Palace their first wins of the season. They've got so much quality in this team, so much pace in this team. They can't afford to almost rest up. Like they get too easy-ozy at times, and it shouldn't be the case. And that's what he has. That's the challenge for the manager. You can't afford to lose the points that they have done, because if you look at the silly results that they've picked up, if they didn't have them, we'd be talking about Tottenham in a title race right now. Yeah. That's the difference. Ipswich, and they were brilliant that day, but you can't beat Aston Villa at home 4-1 and then have a game when you go, OK, this one might not turn me on as much, and think, we'll just turn up and we're going to win. That is not how the Premier League works. And if they're going to think like that this season, they're going to end up top 6, whatever. It'll be fine. But they're too good for that.
So is that a player thing, Jamie, or is it a manager thing? Because one thing I'd like to say about Ange, he's brave. He sticks to it. He knows exactly what he wants to do. He sticks to his formation. He wants to press high. And some of these results, you're looking at the Ipswich one, they should be winning against Ipswich, and that's no disrespect to them. But they've always tried to play the same way. He's a manager who believes in what he's doing. Do
you think it would have been easy for him to change, given some of these
exactly.
results?
So they made a little tweak today. It was a little bit deeper, as I'd said earlier on. I think he can do that at times. I think Spurs sometimes can tweak little things. I'm not saying change the way they should play, but I think it's fresh. I think we've talked about Spurs before in the past about being too pragmatic. Now they're front-footed team who want to play good football. And when you play like that, you're going to get exposed at the back. So I like what he's doing.
No, look, I'm sure you do, because they're the entertainers. They're exciting to watch. But I think you have to also be brave, but you've got to be smart. There has to come a time when you've got to go, right, we're winning this game. Whatever happens, we get that 3 points.
So you'd expect them to beat Fulham at home next, would you?
Well, they lost against them last year 3-0 at home. Away. So, you don't expect them to beat, but
then you'll start to believe, if they start to back this up.
And also,
really,
really, I look at a game in a few weeks' time against Manchester United in the Carabao Cup, and he said earlier this season, he said, I always win things in my second season. That's a big game for them, because I think the fans are not just crying out for top 4, they want a trophy. And this team is certainly capable. It's got a lot of good players, a lot of exciting young players. Can they produce? And can they get that consistency? Because if they can, they could be one of the most exciting teams, but also one of the best teams in the Premier League.